Hello there everyone and welcome to Monster Freak Ultimate for Beginners. My name is David and today we're going to be covering the dual swords. The dual swords, or dual blades depending on how you wish to call them, take elements from the regular sword and shield as well as the long sword to create a weapon set that boosts very high attack speed while also having their own personal attack buff through its respective mechanic. With this in mind, the dual swords quickly became an ideal choice for any player that wishes to play aggressively whilst outputting a lot of damage over a very short space of time. This is due to the dual sword's key ability, known as Demon Mode. In this mode, the hunter gains an attack buff as well as a slightly edited moveset which, when utilized together, ultimately results in a much higher damage output at the cost of constant stamina depletion. The stamina depletion can be mitigated by a teammate using a negate stamina use hunting horn, or by the player using items such as Mega Dash Juice. In either case, the hunter's stamina bar will not deplete whilst in demon mode as long as they're affected by these buffs, so they're worthwhile to bring along with you. The standard roll will also be replaced by a very quick dash while in demon mode. This allows the hunter to get out of the way of incoming attacks very quickly, but also allows the player to reposition themselves very easily if they need to do so. Some other benefits of demon mode that you may not know about is that at all times you have access to low wind pressure resistance, in addition to the Devil Dance ability having ESP, meaning that you will not bounce, which is always good. As the hunter lands attacks within demon mode, the gauge below the sharpness bar will begin to fill up. The bar will glow white when maxed and the hunter will become shrouded by a red aura. This signifies that you are now in Archdemon Mode. Archdemon Mode allows the hunter to retain the increased attack speed from the regular demon mode as well as some of its attacks without the constant stamina depletion. Dashing and using these enhanced attacks will deplete the demon gauge, so in order to maintain this buff, the player will need to re-enter demon mode and land some more attacks in order to keep refilling the bar. I will have to state, however, that the internet, myself included, have absolutely no idea about what the attack buff multiplier of Archdemon Mode is. Some will say it's higher than the regular mode's 1.15 multiplier, some will say it's the same, and others will say that there actually is no multiplier at all in Archdemon Mode and that you just have to go into normal mode in order to get the attack buff back. I'm personally under the impression that the player retains the same attack buff from the regular mode, but as I said, there is no consensus of this, so I'd like you all just to bear that in mind. I've personally found that dual sword users will usually play under one of two playstyles. The first is to utilize demon mode seemingly at all times in order to get the most damage out of the weapon as possible over the course of entire hunts, at the cost of the hunter's own stamina and maneuverability. If you would like to use this method, then I'd highly recommend bringing some Mega Dash Juices with you in order to alleviate the stamina concern entirely. The second is to prioritize the benefits of Archdemon Mode over that of the regular mode. This is achieved by activating Demon Mode specifically to fill up the demon gauge as quickly as possible either on the target or by other monsters within the zone. Being in Archdemon Mode gives the player many of the benefits of the regular mode without the drawbacks, but it also gives the player access to a better initiating tool as well as better maneuverability overall, since the player can freely sheath the weapons without worrying about reactivating Demon Mode. Demon Mode will of course be activated whenever the monster is incapacitated so the player can output a lot of damage, or whenever the demon gauge gets a bit low, as I've said, to refill the bar. In my experience, either strategy tends to work out well enough on their own, but the player will likely use both methods together depending on the circumstances you're in at the time, so feel free to experiment with either method to see whichever you prefer. To recap on the advantages of the weapon, the first is that the weapon is very quick, which leads to its high DPS for our entire fights, which is very nice. The weapon is also very simple and very easy to learn, which makes it a good choice for newer players. You can also roll cancel and have a lot of attacks, so you're not going to get rooted into your own attack animation, which is very nice for getting out of the way. And additionally, the weapon can have dual elements or status effects, so you can have one for each sword, which is also very nice, especially if your target's weak to, say, thunder and dragon elements, so there's also that. And finally, as the weapon is a cutting weapon, you can in fact cut tails off with it, so there is also that. The weapon's disadvantages include its very short range, similar to that of a sword and shield. Its range is a bit longer than the sword and shield, but nevertheless it's still very short, so don't be expecting to cut off Brack's tail while he's not on the floor. The weapon relies very heavily on its demon mode mechanics, so if you're not interested in unique game mechanics like personal boss or anything like that, I wouldn't recommend using one. In addition, the weapon gets a lot of benefit from item use, so if you don't want to carry some additional items around with you, again I wouldn't recommend using the weapon, because it really does benefit a lot from stamina negating items, or as I said, stamina negating hunting horn teammates, things like that. And finally, the weapon cannot block, so there's also that. As for the skills I recommend with the weapon, you can clearly see that they're very offensive based. I will point out though that due to the attack speed, the weapon does benefit a lot from status effects, as well as elemental damage, so I recommend you try that out. In addition to Marathon Runner, if you do not wish to use items such as Mega Dash juices as I've said, but everything else should be fairly cookie cutter. I will also mention that some skill related to sharpness is advised because you're going to cut through your sharpness like crazy just because how fast it is, but it's well worth it in the end, I feel. So that about wraps it up for this episode of Monster Free Ultimate for Beginners concerning the dual swords. If you have any questions, throw them down in the comments section or send me a message. Anyway, ladies and gents, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Have a great day, and thank you for watching.